The general needs you.
Let's face it, the Delta Dad kits are some of the coolest kits around, but too many people get them totally wrong. That's why here on the Gear.Locker, I'm gonna show you guys how to build out the 1991 PSD of Schwarzkopf Delta Loadout, AKA the Grill Master kit. And if you stick to the end, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret that can help you build one of these loadouts even better. But why were our dads dressed up out in the middle of the desert? Well, for Operation Desert Storm, General Norman Schwarzkopf, who was one of the primary leaders on the US side for that big operation, needed some security. And who better than the nation's most elite operators, Delta Force, to fill in with that PSD, that personal security detail. Now these guys couldn't roll in with their TG Faust, Protex, and all that because they wanted to keep a lower profile. Their mission set included pre-route reconnaissance, intimidation, and of course the security. So let's start with what they're wearing. Their outfits at this time were what I describe as professional casual yet efficient. You'll notice business casual style attire, but it's all comfortable and breathable enough with a little bit of room so they can conceal some stuff on their person. On the top, they can be seen wearing a few different styles of shirts. Some of them being straight button downs, full collar, full sleeve. Occasionally these sleeves will be rolled up, but you may also see short sleeve versions of these shirts. And if they have stripes, they're usually vertical and they're kind of cool that way. You may also see polo style shirts. These can be from a ton of different brands from that time period. However, a common one, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, is Banana Republic. And before we get too into the weeds with that company, let's go down to the pants that they were wearing. These were all typical chino style pants. Work pants per se. These again can be from a ton of different brands, any from the 1980s to 1990s. Keep in mind, early 1990s though. This was from a 1991 security detail, so you want to keep things just prior to that. I opted for Banana Republic with those as well. Their belts are any style. I didn't know anything particular or a particular manufacturer in the limited research that I was able to do on a couple grainy pixels. Anything standard big box store will be just fine for that. Again, as long as it was from the time. The shoes you may notice are all brown style shoes. Some of them lighter, some of them darker, but all professional workwear. These can be from a myriad of period brands from the time period. These are just some standard ones that have gotten a lot of love in, so I like these for this kind of kit. Leather is going to be key for these. You don't really see any of the materials. There's definitely no combat boots here. The most iconic piece of these kits though are the vests. These vests, from what I can tell, were all made by Banana Republic, Safari, and Travel. These things can sometimes be called photographer's vests, safari vests, but prior to Banana Republic being acquired by another company and changing the name just to Banana Republic, these were all known as Banana Republic Travel and Safari vests. And there's a few key styles. There are plenty out there that are not correct, but the couple that I've put on screen, as well as a couple others, are perfectly accurate and matched up one-to-one with the photos. These can be had very cheaply online. You may even be able to find them at your local donation store like Goodwill or Savers, but on eBay, these are also really cheap. And of course, you gotta have some key accessories. A lot of guys were rocking those awesome black shades, the aviator style, although some of them were wearing their standard glasses. Watches can include things like this Casio G-Shock, but anything that's kind of period style and snazzy enough for Delta to wear will be okay, as long as you can kind of match it up with the photo. Now let's get to the trickiest part of this loadout, and that is the rifle. You're going to need an early or late Colt 723 with only a few accessories, if any at all. More often than not too, by the way, you'll see the late variant. That's the one with the brass deflector, the C7 upper to be specific. And either profile barrel will work, although the government one is a little bit more common. Some accessories that you might see, but again, are not needed whatsoever for this kit are an aim-point optic with an MGW rail system, ready mags, which there are a couple photos of, but again, not too common. And you'll often see these black style USGI slings. Sometimes they're wrapped right around the front sight post. Sometimes they're tied around like here. Just check out photos and you'll probably find a style that you want to emulate. There are other instances of things like lights underneath the handguard and a suppressor, but again, these are really, really uncommon and kind of one-offs. And speaking of one-offs, you might see other rifles. Like there is a photo of a gentleman from Delta Force on that PSD with an XM177E2, which is really strange because I don't recall seeing them in the 80s at all, so having one show up in the 90s is kind of cool actually. He's standing by a plane if you can find that photo. And to be honest, that's really it. The kit is extremely simple. As long as you can find all period clothing, you're pretty much gonna fit the vibe. Now here's where that little secret comes in. In the description below, I've linked a full kit list that I've researched tirelessly to figure out what kind of things they were wearing to help you better build this loadout. This video was very general in nature, so you can kind of get a head start, but that kit list will be the best next step. So I would highly encourage you to check it out in the description below, and also let me know what you think of it in the comments. Huge shout out to my friends who helped me put together some of the parts of this video. You know who you are. I appreciate you all staying to the end and watching this. Thank you for checking out the video. As always, this is the Gear Locker, and we'll see you out there with your Delta kits.